You're doing all right. Thank you.
I've had a guest in the last 2 weeks. I don't know if you know Pete Medhurst. He's a radio voice in D.C. He's also the voice of the
Yeah.
Navy. Okay, so Pete's a good friend
Yeah,
going
of
back to
course.
Salisbury. So Pete
Very
was
cool.
on.
Does a great job. Salisbury, you mean where I didn't get a job?
Yes. And the rest is history. By the way.
So you gave Pete a job, but you wouldn't let me work with you.
No. Pete was on the radio down in Salisbury, and then I needed to fill in a couple of times, and he just kind of filled in. He was always on me, and he did a great job and kind of moved his way into TV. But he's been basically radio and play-by-play, as you know. So anyway, he was on a couple weeks ago, and he comes on often. Then my other buddy who was in the business on the news side, now he got out of the business. He's in banking. He's in North Carolina. He just was in Ocean City last week. Pete was like the week prior to him coming on the show. Both said It's a disaster, Ocean City now. It's a disaster. At nighttime, the vigilantes come out. There's been stabbings. There's all kinds of bad elements out there. I don't know if you're seeing what they're saying, but that was Pete and my friend Vince, one on air and one off air, saying the exact same thing.
Yeah, it's certainly different. There's no question about it. And what needs to happen, and this is not ideological, and has nothing to do with anything other than just safety. Cases are rising. Bars have opened. So it's obvious what's going on. So the country's been cooped up for 3.5 months. We get close to summertime. Everybody's raring to get out and get going, especially the kids. I mean, you and I are old. I mean, we like to go out and have a drink or something, but the kids they're raring to go. And it's just a mess, a big time mess. Going to the beach is okay because you can separate, and going to an outdoor restaurant or bar, you can do that. But, man, getting into these tight situations in bars where kids are dancing and having a good time and doing their whole thing and bringing that stuff home to mom and dad and cousins and friends and grandma and grandpa, you can just see what's coming, and hopefully everybody stays safe. As far as the vigilante stuff, I don't know, Greg. I mean, that's a tough one for me to know. I don't get into that world, but I tell you what. If you go to any of these great spots where we've been going to our whole lives, and you see these big crowds, you just can't hang out with these people inside because it's just going to spread like wildfire. It's a shame what's going on. But I just saw Texas is shutting down its bars, and I think that other places in the country are going to start doing the same. I just don't think that you can beat this thing. With everything being completely open. It's a very, very tough call for these politicians and these business owners. I feel terrible for all of them.
Well, you're on vacation in Maryland, but you live in Orlando, and for goodness sakes, Orange County and that whole area is a disaster.
Oh, it's a disaster right now. The whole thing. I mean, you kind of knew it was coming, Greg. I mean, everybody. I mean, I don't know what it's like in Memphis, but go to any major city. You start opening up a little bit too early because everybody's getting anxious because of the businesses and the economy, and I totally understand that.
Right.
But there's a balance there. Do we have to live with the virus and protect the elderly and the vulnerable, or do we try to shut things down and try to close it that way? I don't know the answer to that. I'm not smart enough, but whether it's Orlando or Dewey Beach or Ocean City or Texas, all these big cities all over the country, clearly the opening up has also spread the virus more. So I hope everybody's staying safe and everybody's staying healthy and looking after each other. And I guess we'll just have to wait and see how it all plays out.
Yeah, not to dwell too much on this topic, although it's a heavy topic. I want to talk some golf with you. But I think when they started to open things, a lot of people let their guards down and thought, oh, everything's fine. And so, as you said, they were cooped up and they wanted to go out and they wanted to get a little crazy and go a little nutty. The problem is now that I think people have to start to consider other people. We've had this debate already on this show today, and we had a number of texters that talked about their civil liberties and were not going to wear a mask, and others said they weren't going to wear a mask because they had pre-existing medical conditions, which is understandable. But all I said is, listen, how hard is it if you're running out to the store to throw a mask on so you don't sneeze if you, God forbid, if you have it, and then 3 other people get it. So just think about your fellow man. Don't really worry about Big Brother coming down on you, because I think what they're doing is the right thing. They're trying to curtail it. But I think, Steve, look, the summer, the people thought maybe the heat would cut it down. It has not happened. I think we're just going to have to find a way to live with this while they look for the antidote.
Yeah, I totally agree. And to bring that toward the sports world, what's interesting about the sports world, Greg, is look, the PGA Tour had 3 positive tests in 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of them were caddies, and that made Brooks Koepka one of the game's biggest stars. Graham McDowell, a major champion, a Ryder Cup hero. Those 2 had to withdraw because their caddies tested positive. Another player tested positive today, Denny McCarthy, and he's going to have to withdraw. So as it comes to the sports world, look, they're trying everything they can on the PGA Tour. You know, if you stop the PGA Tour again, I'm afraid that the season's gone. It won't be able to come back
Mm-hmm.
because if there's a slow drip of tests, how are you going to at all be able to come back if there's going to be a test here, a test here, a test here, a test here that comes up positive? So with the PGA Tour and how they're trying to go about their business, unlike the team sports, say the Grizzlies or any other sport, hockey, baseball, and football, there's a bubble that can be created in those sports because of the team atmosphere. On the PGA Tour, Greg, these guys are individuals. You know, they fly when they fly. They stay where they stay. You can tell them all you want what you need to do, but that's impossible
Mm-hmm.
unless it's a completely controlled environment. It's not the guy's fault. It's not like they're out, you know, boozing at secrets on the sand with a bunch of 21-year-olds. They're going to grab something to eat, or they're going to the grocery store, or they're going to the drugstore, or they're just out and about like you and I are, and it just spreads, man. It spreads wildly. So I think that, you know, for golf and for sports, you just have to be really careful, have to be diligent, vigilant in what you're doing, and watch what you're doing, because you can't have this closed down. If the PGA Tour stops, Greg, it's not coming back. It's not going to happen. So I don't know what the answer is other than be careful, look out for each other, and just try to be as cautious as possible so that we can continue to try to move forward.
I didn't hear the news about McCarthy. Who was he playing with? And did that player, I don't know if they were in twosomes or threesomes, did the player or players he was playing with also withdraw? Steve? Where'd Steve go?
Say that again, Greg? I lost you for a second. Sorry.
I didn't know about McCarthy. You said he withdrew today. He started the tournament, right? He played?
He did. He started the tournament. He played, and then he tested positive. You know, the guys keep getting tested. You know, Denny McCarthy tested positive, and he's going to have to leave, and that's the way it's going to be. Now, here's what's going to happen.
But wait, Steve, did the players? I don't know if they were all in twosomes or threesomes. Did the other players in his group? Okay, then did the other 2 golfers and their caddies also withdraw? That were playing with him?
You do not. That's not the rule or the protocol on the PGA Tour. If you test positive, you have to withdraw. If your caddy tests positive, it doesn't say you have to withdraw like Koepka and Graham McDowell did, but that is absolutely the correct thing to do. The polite thing to do, the correct thing to do, the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no hard and fast rule on that.
Gotcha.
But I'll tell you what's going to happen, Greg, moving forward, bud. The slow drip is one thing. If there happens to be, I don't know what would be considered an outbreak on the PGA Tour, I don't know, 5, 10, 12 guys in one day. I don't know what the number is. I don't think there really is a magic number. But if it's, 3 positive tests in 5 days is what happened from Friday to Tuesday. Now here we are on Friday again. There's another positive test. I think if you have it that way, the PGA Tour will continue. If it becomes something of a larger issue, or I was talking to a player last night, what makes this interesting, Greg, is if it becomes an issue where so many guys kind of individually, not collectively, are dropping out, that all of a sudden the fields, not that they become poor because the top players aren't playing, but it becomes like an imbalance of, say, Korn Ferry Tour players playing PGA Tour events because all these spots are opening up.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could be an issue as well. It just, there's no way to stop this virus right now. I mean, everybody knows that. You just have to be careful. As careful as you can.
You said you spoke to a player last night. You've probably spoken to a few others. Do you think there's general concern when they go out there on the course that they're going to catch it? No?
No, I don't think there's general concern on that. remember, Greg, you and I are much older than PGA Tour players. You have kids. I have kids. My kids don't care. My kids are, they're ready to go out and have a good time, do their thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're, we're the ones making them be careful, not them.
Right.
And I think that the guys on the PGA Tour perhaps got a little loose the last couple weeks because everybody let their guard down. All of us let our guard down. Now all of a sudden things are ratcheting back up again, and it's getting back into the forefront. The governor of Texas just announced this morning he's closing the bars in all of Texas.
Yep. Yeah, talked about that on the show. Mm-hmm.
Right. So, I think the guys got a little bit of a wake-up call. Commissioner Jay Monahan spoke about it earlier this week. I think the guys understand it. But I don't think they're nervous to go out and play. I just think they realize that you can get it at any point, and hopefully you're asymptomatic or you don't have too many harsh symptoms, and you can just get through it. But I don't think the great majority of them, Greg, are not scared to go play.
Right,
they're ready to play.
Right. Even last week it was Watney, and it was a golfer tested positive, and then we moved on to this week, and there was a few more. So it's still not incredible numbers, but it starts to get a little bit concerning. Now, as we move forward, the Memorial still plans to open it up to a certain percentage of fans. Do you think moving forward, if we continue to have 5, 6, 7, 8, that all of a sudden they may change their mind on fans at the event? Spectators.
Just my personal opinion. I do not have any inside intel on this. I cannot imagine fans going to a tour event when guys are testing positive.
Really?
I just can't. I can't. I mean, first of all, is that the optic you want? Is that the look you want from the tour standpoint? Does that seem a little bit irresponsible? Is it too cautious? Perhaps. But wouldn't you rather side on the too cautious side than what if a fan gets it? It's one thing for a player to get it. That's what he's doing for a living. A fan's just going out because he or she wants to go watch the best players in the world play golf.
Mm-hmm.
You can prevent that by just not having fans. So I don't know. It's a very, very difficult call. I'm glad we're not the ones making it, Greg. But to me, it just seems, if there is a little bit of chatter as to why is the PGA Tour even playing with all these positive tests, how could you possibly allow fans in? But, we're a couple of weeks away from that. This thing changes daily, changes hour, minute by minute. But I would be surprised if the testing continues to kind of have this slow drip of positive test results. I would think that you would not have any fans at the Memorial in a couple of weeks, but that's a long ways away, so we'll have to wait and see.
When are you next back out there? What's your next event?
NBC has, we do that celebrity event every year, the American Century Championship in Lake Tahoe.
You call it, yeah.
Yeah, I do it. So next week from Wednesday is when I'm flying out, is July 8th. So that's our next event on NBC. CBS is on a run right now of PGA Tour events. Our other events, our summer was jam-packed. We had the KPMG Women's PGA Championship. We had the Open Championship. We have the Tahoe event, and we had the Summer Olympics, and everything got rinsed, So our summer really slowed down quite a bit as far as our network goes. But we're itching to get back. We're on text chains, all of us, all the crew, the announcers, everybody, and we just can't wait to get back to work. As long as it's done in a safe and healthy way. We're itching to go and ready to get after it. So Tahoe in a couple of weeks, Greg. Will be first when we come back. Yeah. Hopefully.
You do great. Yeah, you do a great job there calling the event. And it's hard to say play-by-play for golf, but it is. And you do a terrific job up there. But
you're kind.
What about the and maybe you don't even want to discuss this, but I saw the story about the Golf Channel. It's unfortunate to hear about people that are going to be losing their jobs. What's the deal with that?
So heartbreaking for anybody. Listen, I've been at the Golf Channel 20 years. I do mostly NBC work now since 2011, but the Golf Channel is in my blood. It's the heart and soul of what got my career to the point it is now, and I'm forever grateful for the people who put me personally into that position and hired me and all those kinds of things. And so many good people in front of the camera. so many great people behind the camera who helped build that place. Look, I don't even pretend to know exactly why or how this all happened, but, big corporate world, lots going on. Everybody's got to tighten the purse strings. I totally get it. I just feel terrible for all the people, all the really, really, really good people who have lost their jobs and who are going to lose their jobs.
Yeah.
Golf Channel will always be a great place. The audience and the fans out there who've watched us for years, they won't notice anything for the most part. But those of us who worked there for such a long time and helped build the place, obviously it's been a sad few days. And I say that from the top down. Nobody wanted this. It's just the way business works, I guess. I don't know. I don't even pretend to know how that stuff happens, right? But it's been a very sad week for everybody involved at the Golf Channel. It's been a tough few days.
Meanwhile, the Travelers in Connecticut, ironically, where the Golf Channel staff's going to be heading to. Will Gordon's your leader at 11 under. Give me 20 seconds on Will Gordon. I never heard of the guy.
Yeah, no one's ever heard of the guy. It's amazing how tremendously deep these fields are, Greg. We talked about this for years. There's so many guys who can win. I mean, Will Gordon's one of these young guys who came up out of nowhere, and here he is, the 36-hole leader. A lot of golf left, though, Greg. The pressure ratchets up. Although Jordan Spieth said earlier this week, Greg, it's a lot easier to win and play well on the PGA Tour when there are no fans because there's a little bit less pressure. So maybe that'll help a guy like Will Gordon. We'll have to wait and see. But he's a good, young, promising player. Tough spot for him this weekend going up against the best players in the world, however.
All right, final thing for you, and then we'll let you go to the beach. All right, this is nothing.
I'm looking at it right now.
I'm sure you are.
The fifth level here at the Excalibur.
Then you can head over to Brass Balls, get a beer. Is that still around?
Yeah.
Brass Balls still around?
Oh God, yeah, absolutely.
All of them? Beer to Clam, Big Peckers? They're still around?
Absolutely. Want to get you a T-shirt and send it to you?
No, thank you. On a serious note, the NBA, and we're obviously all concerned about that around here with the Grizzlies. Now they may have to do a play-in and not get the whole thing's weird. But they're going to be playing basketball in your neck of the woods, near the where you live, but at the Disney Resort. Do you think it's going to work out?
I do, except I think that someone's going to test positive, and then we'll just have to wait and see how the NBA reacts. The first time around, they're the ones who stopped everything when Rudy Gobert tested positive. It was one test positive, done, shut down, see ya. It's inevitable that I would think that someone's going to test positive. And in that bubble situation, in that team atmosphere, in the league all being in one place, I don't know. The NBA, they tend to be very progressive and forward-thinking when it comes to social issues. And that's a good thing. And in this particular case, I would think that they would be more cautious than, say, the NFL would be. Just the very nature of the structure of the game and the leadership. It seems to me that the NFL is more willing to roll the dice a little bit. And I'm not talking about with people's lives. I'm just saying with their business, as opposed to, say, the NBA is. So I think they're going to start. Do I think they're going to finish? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen when one or two guys test positive, because inevitably that's going to happen.
We're all day to day, man, aren't we? We're all day to day. So enjoy your day on the beach in Ocean City.
My man.
Thank
Good to talk to you, Greg. I'm still looking for that 3/4-inch tape I sent you, 28 years ago when you wouldn't hire me.
Oh, that's what I wanted to tell you at the beginning. I forgot. So all of a sudden, yesterday, out of nowhere, I get texted some videos of me anchoring in Salisbury and some photos. Yeah. It happened to be a guy who played. It happened to be a guy who played at Salisbury. He played football and basketball. He's been in college coaching for years and years. And he tells me now he's a coach at UT Martin, which I think is a couple hours away from us. But out of nowhere. So he sends this old video of me, and I see all my hair, all my luscious black hair that I don't have anymore.
Giving the people what they want. Greg Gaston on television. My gosh. How great is that? Isn't it amazing how high our voices sound and how quickly we spoke back then?
Oh, my gosh.
What is going on?
Thank you, my friend. Have a good
All right,
vacation. Okay. Take care, Steve.
You're the best. Stay healthy, bud.
You do. I did. I got the videos out of nowhere. It's a guy I've known, Bill Lewitt, who was down at Northeastern State, I think it was, in Louisiana. Northwestern State, Northeastern State, whatever it is. And Division I basketball, and he was a coach there for years and years. And I remember they came up and played Ole Miss one year, and I met him and talked to him after the game. But it's been a number of years since, and he says now he's on the UT Martin staff. And he sends me these old videos.
The hair was impressive.
Wasn't
I
it?
can't lie, man.
Man, I'm sad.
You had a good 2-inch lift on that hair. I mean, it was up there.
I'm so sad I don't have any of that hair anymore. I got a little hair, but not much on the top, I'll tell you that. When we come back, we got 2.5 questions. No, we don't. We have 10 in a row, the game show that has swept the nation. So please jump on the phone lines at 360-8255. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Search Sports 56 on Facebook and give us a like. And follow us on Twitter at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Casper's the sleep company with outrageously comfortable products at not-so-outrageous prices. Their 4th of July sale saves on the coolest mattress for summer sleep featuring AirScape technology. Get 10% off your entire order now through 7/13. Use the code KEEPCOOL. Offer expires 7/13/20 at 11:59 p.m. Pacific. Excludes bundles, the Element mattress and sales items. Limit one offer per customer and order. See Casper.com/terms for additional terms and conditions.
We saved serious cash with our Progressive Home and Auto Bundle and used the money to buy a new boat.
Who's ready to water ski?
This is not a real testimonial. Sure, customers can save big money with Progressive, but not enough for a new boat. They'll probably spend it on rent or gas money or maybe one of those little plastic wading pools for the yard.
Ahoy there!
Is what the captain might say. On the toy boat. In your wading pool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
The Home Depot is cooking up new ways to start summer here and bring summer home. From online ordering to free delivery and convenient store pickup, we're helping make sure taking care of your summer projects is a breeze. And summer savings on all your favorite brands make things even easier. So freshen up the deck, fire up the grill. Summer's here, and it's as close as your own backyard. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Family Leisure's here to make staying at home more enjoyable for you and your family this summer. Complete pool packages starting at $15.99. 24-foot pools only $19.99. 4-person spas starting at $19.99. Swim spas starting at under $10,000. We are offering contactless purchasing, deliveries, and curbside pickup. Give us a call to schedule an appointment or to place an order. Stay safe with Family Leisure.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx.
Here once again
are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
We don't need no education.
Welcome back, everybody. 11:30 is the time. Halfway home on this Friday edition of Sports 56 Middays. Greg Gaston and Gabe Kuhn. Eli off today. He'll return on Monday. Again, on Monday, we are scheduled to be joined by the mayor of Memphis, the Honorable Jim Strickland. Coming up a little bit later on in the show, we'll talk with Frank Murtaugh at 12:05, the managing editor of Memphis Magazine and a sports writer for the Memphis Flyer. Also, we got 10 in a row coming up in just a few moments. So I need you to jump on the phone lines at 360-8255. That's 360-8255. I think you know by now the third hour of our show. Of course, we're only in our second hour right now. But our third hour of our show is brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware at 5143 Quince Road. And I wanted to catch up with some of the fine folks over there to discuss what's going on. And Jim Kay is representing East Memphis Ace Hardware, and he joins me now on the show. Jim, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Man, doing good. Hope everything is well. Just wanted to get you on to just talk a little bit about what you guys are doing over at East Memphis Ace Hardware. I think it's one of the hidden gems in Memphis, because if you want to deal with the big box stores and things of that nature, that's fine. Go ahead and do that. But I don't know if people know exactly what you guys have to offer, and it seems like it's a little bit of everything at East Memphis Ace Hardware. So go ahead and tell everybody about what you guys are doing over there at 5143 Quince.
Yeah, I agree with that. It is a lot different from box stores, as you described it, like Home Depot and Lowe's, things like that. I want to say the personal level and the customer service that we can provide for you is it's a lot different. And we also have huge selections of grills. Talking about the Green Egg. I'm sure you've heard of that.
Sure.
Yeah, so we have a huge grill selection from Green Egg, Traeger, Weber. We can get some Kamado Joes in, and also there's plenty of availability to order online off our website, acehardware.com. And if you order it to East Memphis Ace, it's actually free shipping. So,
oh wow,
that's a really cool thing. A lot of people do that with certain items, and I do kind of want to stress the fact that we aren't really known, throughout. I don't know, kind of the major stores, stuff like that, stuff like Lowe's and Home Depot. We definitely want to get our message out there that we're here to help for sure. Help the hardware folk. That's what we are.
I've always and I've always talked about the fact that maintenance projects. You got those home maintenance projects. You have the people that can advise the right way, tell them what they need to buy, how they need to do certain things. And again, you don't get that. A lot of times you go to the big box stores and they don't even know where to find something. So you're going to get that personal, that human touch that you don't really get, again, at major brands, at major stores.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We have plenty of people on the floor. I want to say about 5 at one time. And since we're a medium-sized store, we're going to be able to help you with all your needs. Now, while, some days we may be busy with a lot of customers, we will get to you as soon as we can. And yes, with all this virus happening and all the home renovations people are doing, countless people are coming in with this numerous projects, different things they want to find. And, we'll help you find it. It should be all in the store. If not, and again, online orders are a huge thing there. And also, I do want to talk about our garden center. Miss Mary Wren is our gardener there. And she can help you with anything you would need. And again, just like the home renovation, people are doing so much gardening and things. Like we got potting soil, a lot of Miracle Grow. A lot of people ask this moisture control stuff. We have a lot of manure, mulch, anything you can need for those home gardening projects. We also have a lot of plants that you can purchase there, and fertilizer and all types of lawn things.
Well, like you said, I mean, Ace is a proven name over the years. I grew up in South Jersey, and there was an Ace Hardware that we would go to. It was right there. So Ace has been around for a long time, but I try to bring it down to this. It's locally owned and operated, that it's right there in the heart of East Memphis. It's your community store, and that's why I try to differentiate that from the major conglomerates. But like you said, you have somebody in your garden center that's all she does. You have somebody that can take care of paints that you need to pick out the right Benjamin Moore paints. You have somebody that can help you with that state-of-the-art key center. There's something for everybody. Now, I know throughout the start of COVID-19, when it hit and shut down just about everything, you guys were still open, I believe, and had curbside pickup and things of that nature. So you were still able to be able to help out the people with what they needed. But now, obviously, things are opened up, and I would imagine still they can call you, find out what you have, and if they need anything, curbside pickup or delivery, are you still doing those things, or is it now just in-store or obviously going online?
Yes, curbside and delivery are huge wide options that people select all the time. That's still open for sure. We order online orders. Again, like I said, a bunch of times, huge thing. And if you do that, you can call in even, see if your online order is there. We can take it out right to your car. We can also deliver certain types of things. But I do want to stress the free shipping to the store, because that's a huge thing, especially on big items like grills, where the shipping is probably upper $100, something like that.
Right.
Shipping it to the store for free is a huge, win. And if you want to pick it up, or when it's in, we can assemble it. If it's over $400, what is it, $499? If it's over $499, we can deliver it to your home for free. And I want to say that's a huge win. So and stuff like that. And also, I want to talk about the Ben Moore paints. Ben Moore, huge brand, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And a little kind of fun fact, I'm sure you may know this, you may not though, but a lot of people don't know that Ben Moore, other than Ben Moore stores and Ace Hardware, they're the only places that sell Ben Moore paint.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. I did not know that.
Yes.
Benjamin Moore paints are available everywhere.
Yeah, no, and I thought they were too, before I started working there. And now that I've, gotten over it, we have a great paint selection over there. We have a helper named Terry, and he can help you with any paint you need. He can help you find a color you need. And then we also have Clark Kensington, and we're about to get the Chip and Joanna Gaines line of paint. If you've seen that show,
mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're about to get their paint too. So our paint selection is growing. But again, that Ben Moore paint. And I also want to talk about the like you said, the keys. People call in all the time asking to make auto keys and remotes and things like that. And we can definitely cut your keys, and also our selection of remotes and keys and chip keys for all various cars and things like that. Huge selection. And if you buy the key at the store, we also program it for free. So if you want to bring your car over, then we can program that. If it's a chip key, program that for free. So it comes with it if you buy it from the store. So.
You talk about convenience. They have it. Service, knowledge, and price. It's East Memphis Ace Hardware at 5143 Quince Road, the third-hour sponsor each and every day of Sports 56 Middays. Jim Kay, thank you so much. Really appreciate the insight.
Yeah, it was great talking to you. You have a great day.
You too. Take care of yourself. Good stuff. I mean, I can only do it so much justice. You need to go there for yourself. It is East Memphis Ace Hardware. Right now, it's time for 10 in a row.
Not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8, not 9, but 10 in a row.
It's the game show that has swept the nation 10 in a row, and we need you to jump on the phone lines right now at 360-8255. Today we are playing for a $25 gift card to Sweetgrass and a $25 gift card to East Coast Wings. So $50 in gift cards for you folks at two great restaurants, two great establishments here in Memphis and the Mid-South area. Of course, East Coast Wings more towards, Bartlett, and Sweetgrass in the heart of Midtown. Two $25 gift cards. Today's question, as I mentioned earlier, I gave you a hint, has to do with the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I'm going to give you a name. If that person is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, it's a yes. If not, it's a no. And this includes the 2020 class. It includes the 2020 class. I'm not going to use Isaac Bruce, but if I used Isaac Bruce, the answer would be Gabe Kuhn.
Yes.
It would be a yes. So
thankfully,
Football
yes.
Hall of Famers. 360-82, thankfully, yes. But he's going to have to wait until 2021 for the enshrinement ceremony, as we talked about that on the show yesterday. So 360-8255, playing for a $25 gift card to Sweetgrass and a $25 gift card to East Coast Wings. It doesn't cost you anything. All you have to do is dial in and take a stab at it. All right, let's begin. Bobby, he's not afraid of any ghosts. He's going to jump on this thing and try for the first time. Hi, Bobby. How are you?
Hey, man, doing good. How about you?
Doing well. We need our guinea pigs, ladies and gentlemen, and Bobby is stepping up to the plate. All right, Bobby, here we go. Pro Football Hall of Famers, a simple yes or no if they're in the Hall of Fame. Chris Carter.
Yeah.
Roger Craig.
Yeah.
360-8255 is the number. Pro Football Hall of Famers. Give you a name. If they're in, it's a yes. If not, it's a no. 360-8255. Randy is next. Hi, Randy. Randy, lower your radio. Oh, how about hanging up? 360-8255. Remember to lower your radio when we bring you on the air. 360-8255 for 10 in a row. Again, the question, Pro Football Hall of Famers. I'll give you a name if they're in Canton, including the 2020 class. It's a yes. If not, it's a no. You're playing for two $25 gift cards, one to Sweetgrass and one to East Coast Wings. All right, let's see. Robert is next. Hey, Robert.
Hey, man, how's it going today?
Going well. All right, here we go. List 2, you're first up on list 2. Brian Urlacher.
Yes.
Harvey Martin.
No.
Randall Cunningham.
No.
Kellen Winslow, Sr.
Yes.
Carl Mecklenburg.
No.
Len Dawson.
Yes.
Larry Zonka.
Yes.
Champ Bailey.
Yes.
Ray Guy.
Yes.
Dan Hampton.
Yes.
Woo! Man, oh, man. Robert, you crushed it,
Playing
brother.
no games.
You crushed it. And even if you had that Googled, man, that's too quick to be able to look up those names. That's fantastic, Robert. Congratulations. Got a $25 gift card to Sweetgrass and a $25 gift card to East Coast Wings. We'll put you on hold, and Gabe will get your information. Good job, my friend.
All right, man.
Thank you. Man, that was good.
I'm thoroughly impressed.
Now I'm going to ask you about list 1. So keep him on hold for a second. We'll get Robert's information. We're not going to do a second chance here. 360-8255 is the number that you need to have memorized, and you need to jump on early, because here's one where people wait around. Now people are calling. We had a winner. Robert was our second caller, and he was able to win. All right, so the first list that we did not complete, not by any stretch of the imagination, Chris Carter.
Yes.
Roger Craig.
No.
Ted Hendricks, who you probably don't even know
No.
who he is. That's a yes. The Mad Stork. Archie Manning.
Yes.
No.
Oh, that is a no.
Archie's not in the Hall of Fame. In fact, right now, you'd probably lose a bar bet with a lot of people. If you said, hey, are any of the Mannings in the Hall of Fame? Oh, absolutely. Nobody's in there. Is Peyton in there yet?
I don't know. He will be.
Right.
Eli will
Eli
be.
probably will be. Archie's not in the Hall of Fame. Art Monk.
Yes.
Ed Reed.
Yes.
Joe Klecko.
No.
Mike Singletary.
Yes.
Chuck Foreman.
No.
L.C. Greenwood.
I'm going to go yes.
That's a no.
Okay. See, I'm not familiar with LC.
Yeah, I'm going back to the 70s with some of those guys.
Understood.
All right.
Mike Singletary was a layup, though.
That was a layup.
Absolute layup.
There you go. That's 10 in a row, and we thank you for calling in. We'll take a quick timeout, come back with more middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Sports 56 mornings with Peter Edmiston and CJ Hertz. Weekdays from 7 to 10. Only on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 FM.
Summertime and the living is easy. No more cutting or paying utilities. Literally, you guys, Town Village Audubon Park, nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $24.50. The Gourmet Chef welcomes you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, monthly coffee club, theme dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
For 95 years, Saia LTL Freight has hit the road to deliver the goods that keep businesses and communities moving. Now, in this uncertain time, we won't stop going that extra mile, because at the end of the day, we are all in this together for the long haul. Saia LTL Freight, driving stability, safety, support, and strength. Visit Saia.com. That's SAIA.com.
When you have frequent heartburn, antacid relief only lasts for a few hours. Prilosec OTC stops heartburn before it begins and lasts a full 24 hours. Its unique delayed release formula blocks heartburn at the source. With just 1 pill a day, you get 24-hour heartburn protection. Make the switch today. Prilosec OTC, 1 pill a day, 24 hours, 0 heartburn. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Hey, clones, you've heard me talk about Walmart delivery before, but now Walmart has the fastest delivery service yet. Walmart Express Delivery. Get groceries and more delivered from their door to yours with no contact delivery in 2 hours or less. Zero markups. Same low price as in-store. Don't let work, kids, an at-home workout, or whatever else life throws at you right now get in the way of getting what you need when you need it. Try Walmart Express Delivery today. Restrictions and fees do apply.
If you want to make money in sales, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. If you can sell, Flynn Broadcasting has a great career waiting for you. If you can sell, we have great benefits, salary, commission, sales leads, and a great place to work. If you can sell, let us know today. Send your resume to jobs@flynn.com. Can everyone sell? No. But if you can, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. Apply today at jobs@flynn.com. Start your great career today at jobs@flynn.com. Flynn Broadcasting wants you.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx.
Here once again,
Our great Gaston and Eli Savoy.
let's do it.
Well, she was an American girl, raised up in privacy.
I think we learned our lesson, or at least we should have learned our lesson today, our listeners, that you don't wait. You don't wait around on 10 in a row because Robert brought it. Second list, first attempt, right down the list. Boom.
And we got about 4 or 5 calls right after.
Exactly. Now, I understand the strategy.
Don't be late.
I understand the strategy, but sometimes it doesn't work, and it did not work in this case. Robert killed it. And I'm thinking to myself, as he's doing this and answering them 10 in a row, there's no way, even if he's Googled Pro Football Hall of Fame, to be able to do it that quickly.
He didn't Google it.
Yeah, there's no way. He nailed that thing. All right, you got a couple of more texts on the masks, right?
Sure do.
Okay.
I have one person coming in saying, I'm not wearing no mask at all because I just don't believe in it. My body, my choice. I am not responsible for you.
Wow.
Okay.
Very selfish person.
I would say that's how I feel about it, but I don't. I'm saying I don't feel that way.
Right.
But I feel responsible for my fellow person. John says he has COPD and emphysema. I feel responsible to not spread anything. If I was asymptomatic for the thing, I don't want to spread it to John.
It is your body. It is your choice. I do completely understand civil liberties and all. Have we had anybody that said they're going to wear a mask?
Here we go.
Okay.
Nice. Someone else chimes in. It's like trying to get people to turn their lights on when it's raining so the driver can see you. I agree with the sentiment. I don't know if that's like a perfect foil to it, but
no,
it
but
is.
I sort of
makes
understand
sense.
the analogy. It's helping other people other than yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Because that is one of my pet peeves, though, when it starts to get towards nighttime and someone doesn't have their lights on. Oh, and when it's raining, that bothers me. And then another person, I completely agree with wearing a mask in a crowded place, but wearing a mask from your car to your table in a restaurant that is already social distance is a bit much, and that is what the city mandate requires.
Yeah, but once you get in the restaurant,
you can take it off.
You can take it off, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about.
I mean, you can't eat and drink with a mask on.
Yeah, I kind of agree with walking from your car to the restaurant when you're not when you're not going to have the restaurant or you're not going to have the mask on in the restaurant.
I mean, I agree with that. Like,
yeah, I do.
If you want to visit a restaurant that is socially distanced and you're not going to be wearing a mask, that makes a lot of sense.
And
it really does.
And here's the thing. Mayor Strickland is joining us on Monday morning. He's scheduled to join us unless something comes up, and that's always the possibility when you're the mayor of a big city.
Oh, my gosh. No,
There's
we
a
can't
party
handle
in my tummy.
Peter,
so
stop
yummy, so yummy.
We can't handle it. We're not ready for that as a society. Maybe 15, 20 years down the line we can do this. We can't do it right now. No.
Not in these times, not in these difficult times.
We need people to chill out a little bit before we hit them with that.
Ready. Leading you down to my core, where I become so numb.
I like that guy. That sounds beautiful to me.
That guy's dad is. I totally feel that guy's dad. I was like, yep, that's exactly what I'd like. That guy really does sound like you, though. Like the way he sings sounds like you.
Beautiful.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Like it's hurting. Like it's forcing. You're forcing the air out of your lungs, squeezing them with a vice, and it's causing you pain to sing.
I don't know what you're talking about. That sounded beautiful.
It's like you're about to throw
that's
up
how you're
possibly.
supposed to do it. That's a beautiful voice right there. How's he not signed yet? Somebody sign him.
Oh, he's signed all right. Kari Thompson joins us now. I wonder if he's got a versus battle that he wants to see. Kari, how are you, man?
Oh, hold on, wait. Let me add Kari.
You gonna get him?
Yeah, there he is,
All
Kari.
right, there we go. Kari.
Hey, what's up? What's good?
Kari, what versus battle do you want to see?
Man, we need Drake versus Kanye. We need it.
Do we need it?
Do we need it?
Yeah.
Do we really need it?
Like, seriously. It's like that SpongeBob episode when he didn't have the water, and he's like, I need it. I need it.
That's a good one. Though.
Give me give me Silk the Shocker versus Mace.
Come on, man.
Ooh.
No.
But Mace got that.
Mace will win that one. You don't want Silk the Shocker versus anybody. Mace
Give me
will win that one.
C Murder versus Silk the Shocker. Let's go.
I mean, Mace.
Yeah.
Versus who now?
Silk. Let's go. C Murder
They're
versus
brothers.
Silk.
They wouldn't do that.
I don't care. Brother versus brother. That's how this is.
Right.
Get the
8
cash
Ball
money,
versus
everyone.
MJG.
8-Ball versus MJG.
Oh, no, we can't have that happening now. Whoa, wait. That's like DJ Paul versus Juicy J.
That's
Like that. You're just going to hear the same song.
That'd be funny though. Which one does it better? Which one plays it better? Come on, man.
It'd be like who wrote which one. It'd be like who actually wrote which one.
Dre versus Snoop.
You say, ooh, no.
I don't say ooh at all.
No. That's the same situation we run into.
I don't know. They sort to diverge at some point in their catalog. You know, they're together and then they kind of do this.
Okay.
You got some different influences going. Snoop's been all over the place. I don't know what Snoop's just. I don't even know what to even say about Snoop anymore. He's just
Sensual Eruption is a really good song. When Snoop put that auto tune in, gonna take my time.
Can I just say that Snoop is a wonderful story of a guy who is he's like an amoeba. Like he can be whatever you want Snoop to be. He can be the gangsta on the street, out there doing his thing. He can be the guy that's coaching the kids, football teams. He can be with Martha Stewart making recipes. He can be, hosting some strip club, a bunch of strippers. He can whatever you need. Snoop is remarkable. There are very few people in the world who can pull that off and be genuine in all of it. Every bit of it is legit with this dude. I props to Snoop. That's hard to do.
Amazing what happens when you allow young people to grow and mature. If Snoop leaves this earth at 24, 25, we talk about Snoop Dogg differently. Snoop was allowed to continue to grow and mature into the person that he was supposed to be. He didn't change. I mean, Snoop is still the one out there with the money gun at the Kansas Pep rally with the strippers.
Yep, the stripper poles. Yep.
But he's grown and matured in a way that most of us do as we get older. Snoop was on trial for murder, and to beat that, and then grew into something more positive and something else entirely. It makes you wonder what would have happened to somebody like Tupac, somebody like Biggie, Kurt Cobain, another one, and others.
That's right.
Yeah, we wouldn't have got to see Snoop Lion.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Remember
it hadn't all been it hadn't all been perfect. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, there's not very many guys that can do the things that he can do. So now Kari, we were talking about the situation at some of the HBCUs, and you and CJ are HBCU correspondents. I mean, this is what it's all about. Morehouse not playing football this year. No football for Morehouse this year. Bethune-Cookman. I don't. What's even left of the MEAC at this point? It's a tumultuous time in the world of HBCU football.
Correct. The Rona got Morehouse football, man. They said we're not going to deal with the Rona, so no football. Which I don't know. What do you guys think about that move this early in the game?
I mean, it
clearly
makes sense. They don't have billions.
It's a financial
on the line.
move.
They don't have billions on the line like everybody, like the bigger schools do at the FBS level. And this, Adam Kramer asked us this in the 8 o'clock segment. Like, if money wasn't involved, would we be doing this? And Morehouse is saying, no, we wouldn't. We don't have the same financial capital at stake. It just doesn't make sense for us to go out there and risk our students' lives by having them go out there and play football. And honestly, if we take a step back and look at it, the question then becomes how many millions, how many billions of dollars is worth the risk of people's lives, of young people's lives, old people's lives. Is it $1 billion? Is it $2 billion? Like, is it the cost of cutting a men's soccer program and a women's volleyball program or something like that? Like, what is the actual cost of having a collegiate football season? And is it worth it? That is the next part. And Morehouse seems to be saying, no, it's not worth it for us.
Yep.
I can't fault anyone for making those financial decisions, but that does mean it's easy. It's tough, especially mixed with the cancellation of the Southern Heritage Classic and other. You would think other classics are going to be in some trouble around the country. It's very tough right now.
Exactly, but it just begs the question. So, do you think, like, what level is too big for a decision to be made like this? Like, what football program do you think would be the cutoff, where they're like kind of borderline, but like they're like, nah, we got to have football?
I don't think there is one. For me, it wouldn't be one. Now, realistically, I think everybody in the FBS is going to play, because everybody in the FBS has so much money and capital tied into the football season. I think most of the FCS will play as well. But like D2, like I don't get it. And that's where Morehouse is, D2, D3, and AI. I don't think that it is worth playing a football season this year. Like Rhodes. Like, what is Rhodes going to do bringing it locally? And I know we're talking about, Lane here locally as well. In Jackson, Tennessee, what are they going to do? Lane is a conference member of Morehouse's, but you stop and think about, okay, that's football, but what about these other sports? What are we going to do? I know Christian Brothers doesn't have a football team, but they got a basketball team. They've got a good one. What are we going to do about that? What are we going to do about Lemoyne? Another one without a football program, but they've got a basketball program. Like, is it worth it for Lemoyne to pack those college students in a bus and have them travel around the Southeast to play? Like, is it worth Lemoyne traveling to Atlanta to play Clark, or traveling to Tuskegee to play Tuskegee, or Kentucky State to play a basketball game? Like, you've got to answer those questions as an athletic department, as a university. I can't imagine that it would be, though.
Every team has to make those. I mean, every athletic department has to make those sorts of decisions. Same thing within the on a much smaller scale. Corey, we're talking about preps and the TSSAA and the Arkansas, Mississippi, having to make these sorts of decisions. I guess, does it come down to the fact that if these kids are going to be in school, actually on the campuses and in the classrooms, that we're going to be all systems go, and if not, then they're not going to be? Is it just as simple as that?
I'll put it this way. The way it was explained to me is that football is an extracurricular activity. So you can't have an extracurricular activity without the curriculars.
Right.
You can't have football without the academics. So I'm going to reverse it and go, if we're not in school for football season, we're not going to have football season.
And so that means, like, if we're doing online learning, I know that everybody's trying to figure out, teachers are. My wife is a teacher. She got a message from their superintendent out in Fayette County. We're all trying to figure out the best way to go about having a school year. I'm talking about from a elementary, middle, and high school standpoint. So if we go to remote learning, and everybody's online learning, you're saying that that's not going to be enough to have, like, football. If kids aren't in school, like physically in the school building, there won't be football at the high school level. Okay.
Correct. Just think of the optics of it. if it's not safe for kids to sit in a classroom and learn, how on earth is it safe for kids to be out on a football field tackling each other? It's not safe. So that's the stance. It's like, if we're back to school and kids are in schools and they figure out a plan where bodies can be in seats, then, the options can be explored. But I highly doubt there will be a football season if the kids ain't sitting there physically in school.
I mean, we've seen all the things that leagues are doing to open up, and one of the things that they are doing is testing constantly. Are we able to do that at a high school level around here?
I mean, it depends what high school you're talking about. I mean, I think that certain high schools are going to have a very different testing capability than other high schools. It's another example of the resources gap. So, I mean, I'll tell you, some schools, you can drive right up now, and if you try to get into a practice, well, obviously not now because it's the dead period, but if you try to drive up to a practice, before you even get out of the car, some of these schools have a person waiting there to temperature scan you. Boop, put it up against your head. Okay, clear, you're good. Some, I'd venture to say a lot of inner city schools do not have that. So, that's another thing that we have to be conscious of in these COVID times, is that the resource gap gets showed on a lot of different ways.
Well, and it goes. That's what we're talking about, the HBCUs, and the same thing. I mean, it's just the resource gap is very, very difficult in these times. And then I would say also, just for everybody out there, I mean, I think it's different to me. It scales down, Kari, from professional sports to college sports to high school sports. Like the tolerance for professional players to come back in the middle of a pandemic, and you're going to have some positive tests and all that stuff. But they can negotiate the terms of their return. They can negotiate the health and safety functions, all that stuff. And so they kind of know what they're dealing with, and obviously they're getting paid, so it is a job aspect of it too. There's a financial aspect of it. In college, I'm more concerned about it because some these colleges and these players can't do that, but there is also more and better stringent testing, and a lot of colleges have this thing in a pretty good shape. Some do, some don't. Down in high school, man, I mean, if you're going to participate in an activity that has a increased risk, and everyone, all the epidemiologists say that football is a high risk activity to participate in because it's outside, which is good, but you're in an enclosed helmet. You're next to each other. Your faces are, when you're on the field, you're breathing heavily into each other's space. It's hard to avoid all that. You're getting into a huddle and you're all kind of, everyone's kind of together like that. I just have some real issues with just exposing the high school kids and then potentially their families to this, Kari, when we don't have any kind of a full-on recommendation and a feel for exactly what we're stepping ourselves into.
Man, see, I'm conflicted because I hope more than anyone that we have a football season. I love football. I want to see it happen, especially at the high school level. We've had a great experience covering high school football here in the area. But I think you are correct in mentioning that there is a worldwide pandemic that we don't have a vaccine for, and kids will be on top of each other, breathing on each other, and sweating, and all that stuff that can lead to corona. So it's a tough spot, and that's why I stand by saying that I agree with TSSAA's decision for letting the schools decide for themselves, because there's no one size fits all answer.
It's tough. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I think anyone that says they have all the answers to all this stuff, I mean, no one does. It is difficult. There just is. This is totally unprecedented on every level, and has been for a while. But you gotta. it would let's in the short term. Let's all just start wearing masks, and let's knock the levels down here locally as much as we can before we start trying to worry about sending kids back to schools and everything else. Because you can see in Texas and other areas, it gets bad. It doesn't take long for it to get bad again. Texas just, by the way, closed just moments ago, closed bars again and went back to 50% occupancy for their restaurants, which they had avoided for a while, but they had to because of all the situation that's going on. Kari, always good talking to you, man.
Yeah, likewise.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Gar.
Did you cut him off? Did you cut off another?
I don't think
guest?
I did. I said thank you, Gar.
No, but then he was like, he said something, and then you cut him off.
I think it was C.
That's the second. You cut off.
The first one was an accident, like a legit accident. That one.
You cut off
I
our
thought
friend
it was a good time to
Zachary, the epidemiologist. Now you cut off our friend Kari. Who's part of the show. You got to stop doing this, man.
I'll do my best. I'll be better. I got a happy
quit,
trigger
quit
finger
hanging
right
up on. Quit hanging up on people.
It's new. It's only happened this week.
What's going on? You got
I
some
got
kind
the
of,
yips. I got the yips.
Yeah,
I got the yips, man. What can I
practice,
say?
man. Get in the gym.
Got to work on it. Can't get in the gym, man.
Get in the gym. You got to come on, man. You got to get those yips. Get those yips out. We got to keep practicing. Get the reps. Let's go. We'll come back. Continue. We'll talk. We'll give you the update on what's happening. As I said, Texas is definitely in some trouble, and we're.
If you would like to, who you think would win? Because we hadn't battled yet.
Okay. All right. Well, what you got, Zach?
This is up his alley. He should have this.
Uh-huh.
I'm going with Michael and Prince.
Obviously.
Michael.
Got it. Michael Jackson.
Michael Bolton?
I thought it was Bolton.
No.
Bolton as well.
McDonald?
Michael Jordan?
No.
Oh.
No.
On basketball, Michael Jordan versus Prince would be fun. Those two guys.
Oh, the disrespect that Michael would find from Prince.
The size would be a real trouble for Prince. I'll be honest with you. He'd really struggle.
Prince came to Chicago and didn't invite me out after his concert. Oh, I just use that to motivate me to
He did invite me out. He just didn't invite me out fast enough. Done. Boom. So you have Prince versus Michael Jackson.
Yes.
Who you got in the battle?
Who do you think will win?
And that's the tough part, because, I mean, like they both have bangers on each side.
Mm-hmm.
They both have bangers that pretty much will stand the test of time, literally. I mean, if anything, I mean, it's probably going to favor Michael.
Who do you think so?
I think I want to say it's going to favor Michael. Listen, like, no disrespect to Prince. I think people, not necessarily. I wouldn't say. I think most people will rock with Michael because his beats are. I don't know, like they. It's like party theme. Not to say that Prince can't do those, can't or he has done those type of songs, but it's just when you think of party songs, who do you think of? Michael Jackson. Oh, what's the Can't Stop Till You Get Enough? Okay, let's get down to.
I mean, I see Can't Stop Till You Get Enough, and I'll raise you. Let's go crazy.
True.
Like it's this is where it gets
When
tough.
Doves Cry.
Right, that's
this is where it gets tough. But I think Prince would win a versus against Michael Jackson. The catalog is just all the way there, and the feel of the music. I feel like Prince's music, you can feel that more than you can with Michael's.
Can there be a tie in this situation?
No, can't be no ties.
Like,
we don't do ties over here. Do Me Baby? Come on. But Michael has Dirty Diana. No, wait. Yes, no, Michael has Dirty, but Darling Nikki is what Prince has. Like, that would be so much fun to watch and listen to those who do that. They also don't like each other.
Right.
So that would add a little bit more sauce to it.
Which going to make it more entertaining just to see the disdain on Prince's face when he has to look at Michael through the camera.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Prince v. Michael. CJ.
I don't know. This is tough. I didn't realize how much we as a collective society rocked with Garth Brooks until what year was that? 2-3 years ago when he came to Memphis and sold out the Forum Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Yeah, just kept selling
out
over and over and over again.
So it was tough. I thought about going Garth Brooks, Elvis Presley just to see, like, okay, who would you guys think will win? But for me, you know, it's tough. I would love a Shania Twain, Taylor Swift type of situation just to see what the reaction would be with those two going back and forth. Biggie Pac is certainly up there as well. But I'm going to go Beyonce and Jackson. I think that would be a really fun, really up-tempo, really upbeat party type of battle. And they both have the ability to slow it down and maybe even hit you with a little something nasty as well. So I'm going to go with those two, Beyonce and Janet Jackson.
Okay. Wow. Who would I pick? That's a tough one. That's a tough one right there. I got to go. There's a couple different possibilities that I was thinking about. Beethoven v. Mozart.
Oh, okay.
You know, let's hit him with the bangers. You know.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, I mean, can you go back and forth on that? Come on, let's get it. So, you know. For Elise, you got Eine kleine Nachtmusik. I mean, you got the hits one after the other. Bing bang boom, let's go. But I think the one that I would like to hear, going back a ways, is Billie Holiday and Ella Fitzgerald.
Okay.
Because it's a discussion that people have anyway, because they both have unbelievable voices. And we're from the era when the recordings were, not as great, so we couldn't have the pristine quality. But man, incredible vocals, and you're talking about two of the earliest of early when it comes to influential singers. Man, absolutely incredible. Billie Holiday, that. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable how incredible she was. But then Ella just. So I don't know. I don't know who you pick, honestly. But I'd like to hear him sing.
I would also. That would be fun. And hear them explain why the songs were done the way the songs were done, and give us some of the stories about some of the things going on in the background.
Man. Zach, who you got?
I don't know. I'm leaning more towards Ella. I think Ella's voice really gets to you.
I'd say I'd lean Billie Holiday myself, but that's just me. I don't know.
But I want to throw in Taylor Swift and Beyonce as one.
Okay.
Beyonce gets Taylor Swift. Like that's not even fair.
If you talk to the Swifties out there,
I'm not talking to the Swifties. The Beehive would handle the Swifties. They can talk amongst themselves. I'm telling you from a sheer catalog standpoint, Beyonce would get Taylor Swift.
Well, there you go. Hour number 3 on the way. I wonder what our friend Kari Thompson has. According to Stephen Gaither, who is a HBCU reporter, Morehouse will not be playing football in 2020.
What?
Due to COVID-19.
Wow.
So.
Wow. And that couple that with the news that Bethune-Cookman is leaving the MEAC and joining Florida A&M and others in the SWAC. Like there's a lot of movement going on in the HBCU world as far as football goes.
No question. You couple that with the loss of the Southern Heritage Classic, and I'm sure there will be other classics.
Shaw
other
canceled
games.
Their homecoming.
Shaw canceled homecoming.
This year. Wow.
It's man. The COVID situation is not good. As we bring in our friend Adam Kramer joining us. Adam. I mean, we talk a lot about what's happening when these kids come back to campus and all this other stuff. But as we get closer to time now, we start to actually get closer to the season potentially starting or not. The rubber's meeting the road for some of these schools, and I think you're going to see more of this. The effects of this are significant and long ranging.
Yeah, it's not the happiest way to begin, but I don't know if there's another way to begin, right? Like, the last couple of weeks have been really hard to watch. It's interesting. I'm in Illinois, you guys know, outside Chicago, and today for the first day, starting when I'm at the bar in an hour. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to the bar in an hour. It'll probably be 3 or 4 hours. But you can do indoor dining today for the first time here. It's been really still completely shut down, with the exception of golf and things. So, seeing what's going on, it has not resonated close to home because we've still been incredibly isolated to a large degree. These football programs there are so many moving parts, right? Look at life right now and equate that to trying to run a season. I'll tell you one thing, the whole idea of fan interaction. Remember when we were thinking like 4 or 5 weeks ago, like, can we get 50% in there? Can we get a stadium in there? And now it's how logistically, when you've got reportedly 30 people from LSU quarantined, how can you do a season, right? How can you make this happen? And you're getting to the point in the calendar in July where these guys are going to start to practice soon and start to arrive. And I do think getting them there early is good, not just because you know where you stand, but get your testing procedures in place and you try to figure out these things are going to change. You guys know this too, whether it's your workplace, whether it's your gym, if you have access to it, whatever it is, right? The procedure is going to constantly change depending on what's going on in the environment. And I think that's the big thing for football programs. But yeah, it's been, after so much progress, this has been rough. There's no scientific way to put it. Just reading the news every day sucks.
I mean, is there anything more college programs, specifically football programs in the athletic department, is there anything more you'd like to see some of them do or anything you would like to see implemented that maybe isn't implemented nationwide just yet?
The programs that came back without testing, it looks moronic now, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you had programs that were very, didn't test everybody when they come back. And that wasn't like the majority of schools. I don't know what percentage it was, but that's not going to fly, right? Because I think what we've seen in places, even where you were tested, you look at Kansas State, all of a sudden a positive test and then boom, 14 positive tests. You know, you've got a quarter of your team in quarantine. So I really, I don't want to sound like a scientist or anything like that, but to really maintain safety, these guys are going to have to be tested frequently. And you hear from coaches, look, understand that these guys practice, and you can do a lot in the weight room, but let's be honest, it's going to be hard. The way these guys work out, it's different than you and I in our little bubbles doing machine shoulder presses at the gym. It's just a different world. So when they practice, whether it's face shields or whatnot, you can do something to make that work or to put your best foot forward, to put yourself in a position to protect your guys. Ultimately, you're going to have to do testing. And last week, I got into a debate on social media, which is a horrifying thing to do if you've ever done it, is to debate people on social media. So, here's the reality. Based on what we know, the players, at least short term, are very unlikely to get seriously ill by this, right? Can we safely say that these guys, based off the percentages and everything we know, and there's a heck of a lot we don't know, it's unlikely that these players are going to be severely impacted. The coaching staff, the personnel, fans, there's a lot of people that make a football program, a ton of them, that you don't see, that aren't on the sideline, that interact with these guys daily. And that's the part that I think is going to be really hard. Those are the people, quite honestly, I worry about everybody. And I really worry about the players because they're not being paid for this crap. I mean, that's the other thing, okay? Let's say that fairly. And some, grad assistants, whatever. But those are the people I worry about, people who, quite honestly, aren't some of the most elite athletes in the world that are at a much greater risk. Not that everybody's not. The players are at a big risk, too. I understand if they don't want to play, but everybody around them, there's a lot of them. I mean, that's where things multiply and get really scary.
Well, and this is the thing. So we talked earlier this week with the epidemiologist about this stuff, and one of the things that he said was, the testing is fine and that's good, and you got to keep doing it. But part of the problem is that you can be tested and test negative for up to 5 days after contracting the illness. And on top of that, at Kansas State, for example, they tested on Friday. They ended up with 8. They had 8 players, I think, that ended up positive. But they tested on Friday, so good for them for testing. But then over the weekend, while you were waiting for the results, the players just mingled about and hung out together and went to the dorm and did whatever.
Yeah.
Then they were positive. Well, whoops! And then they spread the. So what was? What was the point of that? Like, you can't. Well, this is really laying bare to me, Adam. I bring it up because it's a patchwork. College football and college sports in general is just a patchwork. It's, you have conferences that have some jurisdiction, you have schools that have some jurisdictions, you have state and local governments that have some jurisdictions. It's not the NBA, it's not the NFL, it's not Major League Baseball, where you have an overarching body, where you have the collective bargaining agreement, where you have an agreement about how we're going to do things and how we're not going to do things. You got this patchwork of just whatever happening in college, and some colleges are doing great, and some are doing terrible. And I don't know how you can sustain it over the course of a season when you're going to go play each other, and some of you guys are cool, and some of you guys are not cool at all.
Like colleges, let's peel that back one level. I mean, think of what a college campus is like and will be like. These things are going to be normal. I don't mean to sound like the old guy, like
no, I'm with you, though.
yells in the clouds. Like dude, this is what college. Like in some ways, I sort of sympathize with them, right? But that's just how it's going to be. And you can sort of try to put your players in a bubble and say, don't go out. They're going to go out. And I don't know if we should be angry about, you know what I mean? Like, very mixed on this. And then, yes, so you have these very unique environments with young people and old people, but young people all over the country. And then they're in these unique conferences that are going to have their own guidelines. And geographically, I think that's the part that's really pretty unique, right? It's interesting, like for work, you guys know I do with Golden, one of the questionnaires early on was, have you been to New York and New Jersey? And we talked about it this week because it that doesn't apply anymore. We got to switch the states, right?
No.
And
because they're doing well. New York and New Jersey, they're
got
doing
hit first. They had the fear of God put in them.
Yeah.
No, but now they're look, I'm in Illinois. Chicago's sort of the same thing, right? These were really horribly hit places that are quote unquote the model, but we've been really slow. There hasn't been an opportunity for it. So geographically, that's the other thing. You see how quickly this stuff changes. Where a state can be sort of comfortable and you're planning for all these sports to return to Florida, and then, whoa, wait a second, we're going to Florida, and right now there's sort of an outbreak, and there's no end in sight. So couple that with the financial impact of this. I forget who said it. I forget what radio show I was listening to, and I was talking to a friend. If money wasn't involved, do you think we'd be playing sports right now? Like, I love sports, and I really want football. Okay, this is all selfish. But if there wasn't so much at stake, and these programs weren't going to fall apart if football wasn't played, would we be doing this? Would we attempt this? I don't know. But it doesn't seem like it, right? No. And yet I want it to happen. I want some normalcy. I love this sport. My job is sort of reliant on this. It's reliant. So I think my emotions have changed a lot in the last three to 4 weeks, certainly in the last couple, where you start to see just the magnitude of all this, and you see all the numbers, and and then the part, circling back to what we initially talked about, the clock is on. And if we don't have some clarity here in the next 3 weeks, it's not going to be good.
It's not going to be good for anybody if there's a shortened season or, God forbid, no season. But the bigger conferences can make it. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty for like the Big Ten, the SEC, ACC, Big 12, Pac-12. But they'll survive this. I'm concerned about some of the smaller conferences, some of the other members of the FBS and really the FCS as well. In general, just how can you survive something like this, and what would it look like for a Troy State or a Georgia Southern if they aren't able to play football, or if their football season is changed because they're not getting that money game. Georgia State, Georgia Southern not able to go play that SEC school and get $750,000, which they then disperse amongst their athletic department. How do you think this moment might play out for some of the smaller conferences, the Group of Fives and the FCS?
I think, if you're an Alabama, you can, put in a 25% salary reduction and save, millions of dollars. Nick Saban, there's $2 million right there. And I'm not saying that's what they're going to do. But there's more flexibility to protect yourself than there obviously isn't those other places. There just isn't the revenue, right? Things are tight to begin with. And here's the here's the really hard part. You look at like a Moorhead canceling, and you look at others that could cancel. By canceling, you're taking away your biggest revenue stream for most of these schools. And so right now you're weighing both safety and basically potential future. They just don't have money hanging around in the coffers. Attendance is 20 to 30% of revenue for most big schools. I don't know what it looks like for small schools, but that's an enormous sum. And 20 to 30% for them versus, say, at Clemson, where the percents are just a lot bigger, right? You can get chunked. Their business model, this is going to recalibrate collegiate athletics potentially at the highest level if it is not played. Even if it is, if you don't have attendance, I would imagine you're going to see some, pretty dramatic salary implications. So you mentioned the smaller schools. I hope they can survive. I don't know what their books look like, but they just don't have the same luxury as these big ones. Television contracts, the attendance numbers. You mentioned sort of the cupcake games that are a huge part of their budget when a team gets, say, $1.5 to $2 million in a single season, if not more. They're playing up and getting crushed 55 to 10, whatever it is. Those games, as inconvenient as they are for us, serve a purpose. You lose all of that. I don't know what it looks like, but it's not good. And I would imagine as you see different universities sort of cut sports slowly, UConn, others, I think you'll unfortunately see more of that. But I don't think they're going to cut football. I mean, that's the other thing here. Football is still what brings home money whenever they can play. I think the sad or just the reality of this is they'll cut other sports before they cut one that's their cash cow.
And you're seeing a lot of sports do that. You're seeing a lot of teams and schools that were maybe not run particularly well are having more trouble. You have some schools. UConn's done some cutting. Cincinnati cut one team. You've seen a lot of the Olympic sports getting cut around the country, and more are coming. Things have been pretty stable here for the University of Memphis and for some folks, the schools around here, but it's still something that could well happen. One other thing too, I mean, since we've got two major cataclysmic things happening, like major shifts in the way that we do business as a country and for college football in particular. You have the COVID pandemic, which we're still very much dealing with, but also you have the Black Lives Matter movement, protests, the increased social justice, demands for social justice, demands for equality. These are real things that are happening still very much on college campuses and throughout teams, and some of the fallout is interesting here. A couple different areas I want to talk to you about that. Number one, Adam, yesterday Lane Kiffin, Mike Leach, among all the coaches across basically every coach that could possibly be there from any college in the state of Mississippi was at the Mississippi Capitol to lobby the legislators on changing the Mississippi state flag that still has the Confederate battle flag as part of its design. And you've already had one kid, Blake. What's Blake's? I forget his last name. But he transferred from Ole Miss to Iowa State and said that he was happy not to represent that flag anymore. It's becoming a bigger and bigger issue, recruiting and everything else. This could be a problem for Ole Miss and for other schools, but I'm happy to see that Ole Miss, Mississippi State, even Mike Leach, who certainly had his issues in this department, was there and representing.
Mike Leach, though.
Still being Mike Leach, but
touching people's masks and stuff. Got his nose out, but whatever.
All right, but can we enjoy that? It's been such a rough. Mike Leach. I mean, that picture truly where they're standing behind, and Mike Leach and Lane Kiffin are in masks, and there's like that stair step of people supporting it. You knew nothing about that photo, and we're shown it last year. It said this is going to happen next year. You would have said, "What?"
Yeah, like November of 2019. You're like, wow, okay. Now you have to tell me about some weird stuff's about to happen here, man.
Yeah, look, we rail on college football and the NCAA a lot, and for good reason. I'm getting great pride in my sport with this. I know it's not perfect. The system is kind of gross, and we need to pay the players, et cetera. You could dissect this all you want. But when you look at what those coaches are doing, And look at those coaches who are doing it. These are oddball coaches. And I don't mean that. I mean, Lane and Mike have had rough goes. For them to stand up there and, you could argue what the PR, I get it. You can dissect this all you want. It's still meaningful to see Nick Saban talk about Black Lives Matter in a video that one of his players wrote in a state that, look, if we're being honest, that video is not going to go over completely fine with that whole audience about what the message is. It's just not. To see him do that was powerful. To see these coaches stand up, and Pruitt has done it as well when it comes to auctioning off, the jerseys for Black Lives Matter. Like, I think there's some, for as slow as college football is in some cases, you're seeing coaches who, at least at the surface level, seem to really get it. And above all, seem to really want to support their players. And at the back end, is this all for the greater good, to win games, to get players to look like you're a part of it? I don't know. In other areas of life, it's warming to see these guys step up, and they're stepping up in unique ways. And it's not just one. And there's a bunch of different missions going on across the country and what they want to accomplish. But at a time when news is tough, I've really been encouraged to see some of these guys actually step up and be, like we've talked about it here, right? Like leaders of men and people, and they have this influence. They have this power. The coaches do. We talk about the players having the power, which they do, and we're seeing that with some of them. The coaches, Nick Saban, man, I'm not sure there's a coach with more power in the country in any sport than what Nick Saban said, and that was pretty meaningful to put his face on that.
It was indeed. There's another fallout or potential area of fallout. This down in Tallahassee. Clearly, Mike Norvell has had his issues with this department and this his players and Marvin Wilson and others. They've come to an agreement about how they're going to handle this. And Mike kind of learned a pretty tough lesson early in his tenure. There's another potential problem coming up, according to Noel Game Day, the Noel Game Day, and we always love talking about them Noels. The source tells me, it's from Logan Robinson. Says, source tells me multiple high-level boosters are threatening to cut off funding to Florida State if Doak Campbell Stadium name is changed. There's been some discussion about changing the name of the stadium. It's one of the demands that players have had, to changing it to Bobby Bowden Field or some other thing. So now you have donors threatening to cut off funding if this happens, and I'm sure this is happening around the country. A lot of donors may not like players having the kind of authority that they have, and may not like players demanding these sorts of things. I don't know what you do. Adam, you got to stand for what's right. But boy, economically, if you stand for what's right and you take a big old hit, these ADs, I don't know how much stomach they're going to have for that.
That's tough. I would not want to be in the position of the AD. I commend the people that are asking for change. Gosh, we really protect our names and statues, don't we? As a group?
We do.
We really care about that stuff. I don't really. And I don't want to sound callous or insulting to anyone who does, because I understand people want to respect where they come from. But, if something is offending someone, isn't that enough to at least explore the idea of doing something different? This is like what I tell my kids, man. Like, if you're saying something or doing something and the other person is unhappy, for whatever reason, whether you think it's legitimate or not, at its core, doesn't that at least warrant the idea to explore change? And really, if you're pushing back on that and threatening to cut off money, like, what does that say about you? Like, right? Like, we're at a time now where I get it. It's hypersensitive, over the top, some of it, sure. Do I agree with all of it? No. Do I agree with most of it? Yeah, just because I'm a human being and I want other people to just feel good. And I understand that things are going to change. These players and situations, think about what kind of change they're promoting. Okay, a change to a flag, a name, a stadium, one of the most known, athletic areas in terms of collegiate-wise in the country. I mean, they're shooting their shot in the best and biggest way possible. I'll say this, to get back to that, I would not want to be in a position to have to make that call. You're the AD, and I truly mean that. And you're talking about doing something to make your players satisfied, that your players cool your climate, also potentially get guys from not sitting out versus, shutting the nozzle on millions of dollars. I want no part of that. I mean, I could sit here and say, don't care about this, but when it comes to the actual financial department, we talked about how significant that money is. That's a tough one, and if you're the AD, if I'm the AD there, I'm getting on the phone and I'm talking to these people who are threatening that to understand why. Why do you care so much about this name, and why can't we change it, et cetera? Again, not going to go away. You're going to see more of this. I commend people for at least wanting to start a conversation that clearly makes a lot of people uncomfortable.
You got to talk. You got to talk to get some of this done, but it can be very, very difficult indeed. Hopefully next week we can talk about. I want to talk about the status of this Golden Tee Go situation. I want to talk about where you guys are.
Preview the MAC or something something light.
Yeah, we got to lighten it up when we can, but there's too many important things to talk about. But I got to know. So please, get ready for that next week. We're gonna talk about that.
All right, guys, we'll do.
All right.
Thanks,
All right,
Adam. Hey, Adam,
Take
thanks
care,
for the follow also. I appreciate it.
I can't remember what you before. That's my bad. I mean, no, that's an oversight on my part. So we're connected now.
He's a generous man.
Thank you, Adam.
Very nice.
All right, guys, take care.
The Crane game. That's right, Adam Kramer. He's a good guy. Adam's a very good guy. We're going to spin that wheel of conversation when we return. We'll talk a little bit more about what Adam had to say and where we go from.
Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back in hour number 2. On a day, well, I think you could say the bright news is the NBA did all the COVID testing for everybody, all their players, get into the bubble in Orlando. Of the 302 players, only 16, 5%, had the COVID. And they'll be ready to go when you take a look. And I should point this out. The protocol for the NBA will, if you have a positive test, and they will be testing every night. You have a positive test, you are immediately put into isolation for a 7-day quarantine, and then you must have 2 straight negative tests before it will be you'll be eligible to return to action. And so if we're talking 7 days, they've already done that. They're not even close to getting to Orlando. Through that protocol, everybody should be ready to go by the time they do get to Orlando. Other news today, Shelby cases up 157, 2 new deaths. So the best thing I can tell you, at the risk of repeating myself, which has irked one of our listeners who texted me such, wear a mask. Listen to the protocols. We're not out of the woods of this thing yet.
No, not even close. And this weekend and the next here we go again. The next 2 weeks could really be rough and tumble. But we'll see about the hospitalizations, and we'll see about certainly the bottom line, the ultimate line, the saddest line, the fatalities. And it is not trended at all with the wide number of tests. We have conducted more tests in the United States than Brazil, the UK, Italy, France, Spain, and India combined. And yesterday, Thursday, was the lowest deaths since March and was a 10% drop versus last week.
And again, I'll go back because Dr. Birx actually addressed that today, and so did Vice President Mike Pence. And it's a matter of we know a lot more than we did months ago. We know how to treat it a lot better. We now have better medicines that we understand will work, like that steroid, like remdesivir, and they are using those. They understand if you're younger, you're not going to be steered into the same direction you might have been. If you're older, you will get into an acute care bed a lot quicker, or on a ventilator a lot quicker, or be given that steroid a lot quicker. They understand the treatment a whole lot better. So I've seen a bunch of positive today, even though we've seen, if you're going to give this thing presented a fair way, we've seen Morehouse College canceling football and cross country for the fall. They don't think that everybody will be ready. We saw Texas Tech had 23 players or staff members out of 197 that reported. That's 12%. We did see a couple more players have to withdraw from the Travelers. Really, one player, Denny McCarthy, got COVID, and the guy who was playing with Bud Cauley, we all remember Bud Cauley, he was playing with him, so he decided to be on the safe side and take care of himself, and so he withdrew. So we've had absolute an effect today because of COVID-19, but it isn't as dire as some of the other days, despite the fact that we are seeing a whole bunch of cases, in particular in Texas, where we're trying to get a hold of our friend Craig Way, in Florida, and in California. Those cases keep going up, and you know, if you're thinking about it, especially Central Florida and South Florida, they've had 9,000 cases in this one day.
In Texas, they are on that Joe Lunardi really, really extremely early bracketology. And not only are they on it, they are in a most favorable pod in Dallas if we have an NCAA tournament next year in 2020. And if we do, we will punch a ticket to the Final Four in Memphis, hosting Sweet 16s and Elite Eights. And in that South region, his top 4 seeds, and if it went chalk, that's who would be in Memphis. Baylor's the 1 seed, the 2 seed Michigan State, 3 seed Creighton, 4 seed Tennessee. Would be an orange-clad FedEx Forum if that were the case. Tennessee, right now, according to Joe Lunardi, would pod through Boise.
Huh. Well, they're not giving Memphis any love. We had a texter who pointed that out. I think he agreed, though. But they haven't been mentioned at all, and I think
they're not in the last 4 in, first 4 out, or next 4 out.
No, I think honestly, if they get Cisse, and if they get one or both of those players that transferred in, and those freshmen who, remember, were a big part, even though the 2 best players from that number 1 class, I get it, they're gone, Wiseman and Precious, but those other guys, they're going to be much better, much more consistent this year. You'll have a guy in Lomax who, you know, I think will be a really solid 4-year guy. I thought sort of went backwards toward the end of last year. I thought we saw a great deal of progress from him early on in his sophomore year, but I expect him to be a whole lot more consistent and not turn the ball over near as much. I think they're a team that could win the American. I would be surprised, again, if they get Cisse and one of those 2 guys become eligible. I think it's a team that should clearly make the tournament.
Well, but we thought that for sure this time last year.
Yeah,
we know
did.
why a lot of that didn't happen. I don't know anybody that really expected it the first year, maybe hoped it. Always hope it. And I touched on this yesterday. Just will have to be better and should be in the AAC that has not been very good in a league that saw the Tigers lose 8 times in it last year in a most ho-hum league.
Yeah, well, you know, they weren't the only team that I think were negative surprises. And let's face it, you lost your best player. He only played 3 games in Wiseman, and then you lost at least 40% of the playing time, and especially down the stretch when it really would have helped, you lost DJ Jeffries. So you're talking about 2 or 3 best players not able to go. And then really one player flourished because he got the ball a lot and was a great player, but he would never have had the same kind of year that he had Wiseman been around, or really Jeffrey's been more healthy, and that's Precious Achiuwa. And he should be drafted in the first 10 to 20 picks in the NBA draft whenever they hold that. And now I guess we will know when they'll hold that. That'll be right after this bubble thing and the playoffs all end sometime, I guess, in October. So
and the NBA will announce the schedule tonight at 6 Central, but also today it's been revealed by the NBA exactly what the playoff format will look like, and it mostly will look like it has in the past. It'll be East versus West, and it will be everything's going to be 4 out of 7.
And it starts 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7.
Pretty much traditional, like it always has been, and in NBA past I got the bracket in front of me. Where is it? But the bracket looks like it always has.
Okay, so it's the traditional way to go, and so I don't think we've had this discussion about baseball, but I think it's fair to give this discussion now. I don't think there should be any asterisk in regards to who wins the championship here. I mean, you've never had a more neutral
I don't think even close
situation. You played every one, but a few of those games down the stretch, and you still had to win every playoff game you would have had to win. And for the most part, you even had a little play
most of their year.
Yeah, by the time you're done here, so the Grizzlies are going to be 9 games short of what would have been their full regular season. And actually,
much less of an asterisk.
Concerns that the players have, this is not where the concerns lie. This is all the system that the league put in place doing its job and working as it's intended to.
Brian, it is very easy in anything, and especially with this, to backseat drive and Monday morning quarterback and be part of the I told you so crowd. But I want you on the record to state what your opinion is from the beginning of the bubble. Should it be the bubble? And when we say bubble, this is large bubble, a veritable city or cities. Should it be that way, or should they have tried the restart back in home gyms, in a home arenas like the Premier League and a lot of European soccer places?
Or baseball?
I don't think so. I like this. I think for what you can't. Here's the problem with comparing where the NBA. The only league you can compare the NBA to right now is the NHL, and the NHL is doing it their own way too. I like what the NBA is doing because ultimately you don't have a lot of regular season left to play. You really didn't. And cutting this regular season short under these circumstances by however many games they're doing it, by 8 games, by 10 games, it is utterly meaningless in the bigger picture. But by putting everybody together here in a bubble, they're going to be able to not have travel concerns, to play more games in a short amount of time. And they're going to be able to, the league is going to have control and responsibility to keep everybody associated as safe as possible. And I think from a league standpoint, they wanted to have that control. And I mean, that was very important. You have to understand something about the NBA's role in this entire pandemic and what it's meant to the U.S. The NBA has operations in China. The NBA was preparing for this pandemic to hit the shores in January. They believed that it was coming and coming soon. There's no coincidence that the NBA was the first sports league to suspend operations 1 hour after a player in an arena tested positive. 1 hour. They suspended operations indefinitely, and everybody else followed suit after that. The NBA has taken a leadership role here. They want to be able to control this process to do the best that they can to keep a catastrophe from happening. By the same token, they want to get started with their season again. And ultimately, none of us are stepping into a society that's riskless right now. So the thought that you can have a bubble that mitigates all this risk for all the individuals involved is not it's not realistic. It's not realistic in any walk of life right now. And I think what the NBA is doing is maybe protecting players, maybe better than any other professional sports league's doing it at this point.
I think
that's so well said, Brian.
If I've heard anybody taking swipes at the NBA, it is the perceived money grab of doing these 8 final games so they can, and I don't even think they're trying to hide this, that they can satisfy the 70 games for the local TV partners to get their revenue stream out of those partners. And I'd sort of disagree with that because I do think they will create actually better numbers for those television partners, those sponsors, than they would have gotten maybe down the stretch of the regular season, because all these 8 games for a number of teams are really critical.
That is correct. and I totally agree with that. First of all, we got to understand a couple things. What the NBA didn't want to do was bring teams back and immediately start the playoffs. They didn't think that was fair to the players. They didn't think that was fair to their fans, because the product early on, guys, is not going to be the prettiest product in the world. It's going to be sloppy play. It is. So by having these 8 games, you satisfy a couple things. Yes, you take care of all of this regional TV revenue, and that matters. And I think the important thing to say, when you hear people associate the NBA with the term money grab, I think that's a way overly simplistic, unfair characterization to put on the league's decision to continue the season in this format. This is not a money grab as much as it's the entire financial structure of the league is in jeopardy if you don't do this. Listen, the owners can tear up the CBA right now with the force majeure clause. They're not necessarily going to do that. There will be some tweaks and changes after this season, but the players have been assured that if they come back, the financial system is going to be largely the same way, and whatever losses they have to bear here for the missed games are going to be able to be spread out over a couple of years, and everybody's going to kind of be made whole in the end. So you talk about a money grab, it goes well beyond a money grab. The financial structure of the league will blow up, and the league may change in a way that you never see it change back to. So the league Adam Silver's doing exactly what needs to be done, because in the end, and I know people don't like to hear this, you got risk anywhere you go, but the money matters. The money matters. The league is a high revenue generating league. Players get paid a lot of money, and we know one thing about whether it's players or people in society, whoever you want to say, once you're getting paid a particular amount, no one likes taking less. And taking less is what they've had to do here, 25% less. And listen, no one's playing any violins or starting any GoFundMe pages for NBA players right now, taking less money. That's the reason I'm saying it. But the point being is that the financial model, they want to be able to keep this financial model in place. And here's the other thing that you also have to understand. There's no guarantee there's going to be people in the stands when they start again next season. So whatever money they can make right now to wrap up the season and crown a champion in this bubble format is going to go forward to helping the league be able to sustain maybe some future losses that they have if we end up with coronavirus hanging around a lot longer than any of us want.
Our guest is Brian Geltzeiler. He's from hoopscritic.com. You can follow him on Twitter at hoopscritic, and the schedule will be revealed at 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern tonight. And we love schedule release night. Usually comes in August. We're going to get one now. We'll get one in a few more months, Brian.
Yeah, listen, schedule review. It's fun, and it'll be interesting to what we see. I do believe that the first game we see on July 30th in that bubble is the Clipper-Laker game that TNT lost when Kobe Bryant passed away. If you remember, I guess 5 days after Kobe Bryant passed away, there was supposed to be a Friday night Laker-Clipper game on TNT that the league chose to, and rightfully so, chose to postpone because no one really felt like playing that game. That, I think, is going to be the first game we get out of the box to try to generate a little bit of excitement for everybody being back, and that'll certainly be fun. Whatever happens from there happens. There's going to be, a lot of games played in a short amount of time come July 30th, and I think we'll kind of see some jockeying for seeding. I'm very interested to see what happens with the little play-in series. I think we're almost locked to get one in the West. We're not likely to get one in the East, but to see how that operates and that works, and the league experimenting a little bit there. But, players will be getting their legs underneath them. It'll be interesting to see, what kind of adjustments players make to not having fans in the stands, what kind of adjustments players make to, let's face it, physical contact and having guys sweat on you and that kind of stuff. That's, we're a different society than we were when this league went dark on March 11th. So, from that standpoint, it's going to be very interesting to see players stepping back into a playing situation with the knowledge of everybody having gone through this coronavirus experience as a world together, and see how that affects the way guys play the game.
How do you think, as we see this thing in about 2 hours and 15 minutes or so, when they release it, is it going to be strictly the way it would have been? Or when you were going to play a team that's not there, they're going to skip over? Will they try to make more competitive games in regards to the end of those divisions to establish 8 and 9 seeds? Will they try to play you in your grouping more?
No, I think that what they're gonna look to do here is look at who's played who in the league and try to see if they can even things up a little bit, especially for teams that are competing for seeding in the same playoff spots. So if you were scheduled to play a team, 4 times and you only played them 3, you'll get them once. I think they're going to try to fill in those kinds of holes the best they can, and then kind of just schedule out from there. It's good. One thing I promise you, it's going to be imperfect. It's going to be imperfect. There's no way they can get it 100%.
Welcome to 2020.
Right. Correct. Somebody's going to feel screwed. That's what's going to happen. But in the end, it's going to be a best effort for everybody involved. One of the things that they've done here that I absolutely love is giving the high-end hotels to the higher seeds. I know that the players were the players wanted Vegas. They did not want Disney for this. But ESPN wanted Disney, and ESPN, has had a lot of money from all this, so they got what they wanted. Players, in Vegas, no one was worried about what hotel they were staying in. In Disney, the pecking order is a little bit different. So I love the fact that the higher seeds got the best hotel, the second group of seeds got the second best hotel, and then the other teams are in the yacht club. And not that the yacht club's a bad place to stay, but it's a 20-year-old hotel. So from that standpoint, I think that the league did a nice job in terms of how they line that up.
Just goes to show you
Brian,
that you never know in just about a name, because the yacht club to me sounds like it would be the best.
Sounds good to me, Dave. I'll take it. I take the yacht club, Brian. I could stand a month there, even if I had to be tested very often. Yeah. An untidy story popped up this week here locally. I texted you the broad parameters about it. I knew you were already plugged in, though, about some language in the Grizzlies deal here with FedEx Forum and the viability of the franchise here. We don't think it will be enforced here, but it sure makes people nervous, as we've kind of always had that looming over us from day one of the Grizzlies moving here. It is sometimes felt like not an eggshell existence, but they might be looking to get out. And then ownership changed from Mike Heisley, who was rock solid, to Robert Parra, that nobody here really knows him. I don't even know. I would doubt very many of the Grizzlies employees really know him. I don't think he's let many people really get to know him, but he's done very well.
Yeah,
the
50,000
foot view. 9 billion. Well, the 50,000 foot view from you, Brian, you're in the New York City area, and kind of the national view of Memphis. If Memphis could move, and if they did, what do you think is the destination that the NBA wants to get a team in this city at some time? Where?
Let me start with just my personal opinion here, Brett, because I think it's the fans of Memphis are fantastic basketball fans, and the way the city is connected with the teams when the teams have been really good, I think is special. I really do. When you had Zach Randolph and Mike Conley and Marc Gasol, and especially a guy like Zach, who embodied the personality of the city. And people, looked at Zach Randolph and identified with him because of his workmanlike approach to the game and just the feel that you have in Memphis from that. I think that's a special connection that a city and fans have to a team and to players on a team. So what I'm about to say is in no way an indictment of the great fans of Memphis, who are great fans. The reality is this, and this has been a reality from the jump, and this is why when you say you always felt like the city of Memphis has been on eggshells, it's a small revenue TV market. And what's happening here, you're seeing how important TV is to this league, especially highlighted during the coronavirus pandemic. Because the reality is this, the TV money carries the day. And yes, attendance is great and being able to sell concessions and merchandise and all that. But the bottom line is TV money rules the day. And I don't know that Robert Parra has any kind of emotional connection to the city with this team. And I do know that he has a desire to make this as viable a financial business as he possibly can, regardless of the $9 billion he's worth. So when you look at the Grizzlies being a small TV market, then there's something else you have to consider here. The travel aspect of the Grizzlies being in the Western Conference, only because the Grizzlies they were in Vancouver. We're a West team there, and there's really more teams on the eastern side of the country than there's the western side of the country. So Memphis ends up being a spillover into the West, but that also creates in a league where a lot of people are complaining over the amount of travel that needs to be done. It's a pain in the butt travel-wise as well. So I think that there's a significant chance that Robert Parra is going to be successful in being able to move the Grizzlies, because there's also two markets out west that are dying for NBA teams that are bigger TV markets and certainly are markets the NBA would like to be in. One is obviously Seattle. It's a wrong that the league did that they would like to right. And you noticed yesterday, Amazon's working on an arena there, a big upgrade of an arena there that they're putting their name on. So that certainly is going to have a lot of money put into it. That could have something to do with some of this. And the other market is Vegas. And Vegas has become the unofficial home of the NBA, hosting Summer League every year. It's a place where players love to go and spend time. It's not far from LA, which is, a large percentage of NBA players have vacation homes in LA. So Vegas is the other large possibility where that's a real growing area out there. Not the hugest TV market in the world, but you got the Golden Knights. Now you have the Raiders. And, listen, they're willing to put a brand new building up there for an NBA team as well. I think Seattle's the more likely destination. That's if the Grizzlies leave. But unfortunately, I think Robert Parra is looking for a better financial deal than what I think he's getting in Memphis. And I think that's very unfortunate for some great, great Memphis fans.
Well, not so fast, my friend, because there is a clause in that contract that if he does indeed try to move it, the local ownership that he brought in when another Los Angeles guy, Steve Kaplan, was bought out, they put up the money. They have the right of first refusal on buying it from him, not at the value of the franchise, which would hurt him. It would be at the amount that he has invested in the team. And I don't think they're going anywhere, at least until this initial lease in 2029 is up. That's just my opinion. Brian, you are always incredible to listen to. We enjoy it. As soon as we start in Orlando, I know we're going to have you on again.
You got it, guys. It's always my pleasure, and I'll talk to you both soon.
That is Brian Gelsiler. He knows his stuff. We're late for a break. Back in a minute to put a wrap on hour number 1 on this Friday of Sports Time on Sports 56.
R&R on Sports, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m., Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1. Don't miss us.
And now a game of Commercial Chicken, brought to you by Progressive, where we see how long Flo can go without talking about insurance. Ready? Go.
Oh, hi. Okay, guess we should talk about something. Kind of tough to be put on the spot. Not sure what to say. But I know what I'm definitely not talking about. Drivers who switch to Progressive could save big.
Okay, you win. We can't help but save customers money. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
When you have frequent heartburn, antacid relief only lasts for a few hours. Prilosec OTC stops heartburn before it begins and lasts a full 24 hours. Its unique delayed release formula blocks heartburn at the source. With just one pill a day, you get 24-hour heartburn protection. Make the switch today. Prilosec OTC. One pill a day, 24 hours, zero heartburn. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Noseworthy.
Welcome back in Family Leisure. Don't forget,